No, just fuck it up and then keep
Actually,
going.
just fuck it up. Yeah, let's just do it.
Fuck it up and keep going.
Okay,
Let's
you
go.
ready?
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, and we're back. I'm so sorry. I don't know what that was. I tried to be funny and it wasn't
You
funny.
counted down when we were already recording. What are you counting for?
Okay, are you ready? Here we go. For real.
Wait, that wasn't for real? No, keep
Yeah,
this
we're
in.
starting for real.
No, keep this in.
Okay.
Our,
All right. Hey,
our 3
everybody.
paid editors are keeping this in.
We're not paid. Welcome to the IterationFIVE podcast, a podcast meant for the esports staff in the scene. I don't think that's what we talked about when
It sounds
I was
fine.
going to say.
We're here. We're talking.
It's
We're here.
fine.
We're doing great,
stuff.
honestly.
I also like
It's
that
a
the
choice
name,
that we made.
I like that the name is Iteration 5 and it took you like 5 takes to start the podcast as well.
It's all gonna, it's
It
5
It all
everything.
comes
All
back.
loops in.
It all comes
It
back.
all comes back. We're 50 minutes into when we should have been recording by now, so
True.
it all lines up.
Which is honestly early for me, so I take that.
It's we're ahead of schedule. We could take a few more minutes if we want.
No.
But yeah, welcome to the podcast. It's basically going to be a podcast where we are just talking about behind the stuff, esports stuff, and general esports stuff. How many times can I say esports stuff? Just
More.
stuff that goes on behind the scenes, stuff that you won't hear about on other podcasts because there's, frankly, I don't think many others. And I'm not going to say it anymore, but let's go ahead. Who are we?
Esports cast.
I'm the
podcast.
esports stuff cast.
Stop
we're
saying
Iteration
stuff.
podcast.
I'm gonna lose it.
I will start. I would like to start. Hi. Oh, you guys are so quiet. Hi, I'm Foggy. I have been in the esports scene for like 6 years now. I played lots of games growing up. I used to play WoW and raid with my family. That was pretty cool. And I played League in high school, and I had a team named Tibbers MIA, and I thought that was pretty witty. Still to this day, that name is pretty good. But I came into esports because I played Overwatch semi-professionally. I was trialing contenders teams, and then I quit because of sexism. Let's go.
Classic
esports
Overwatch
classic,
moment.
yeah. And then I just started working in like community management and some social media and some product management, and then just inevitably fell into all my roles that I have, working in contenders, working on Noble. Now I currently work as a talent manager with Beast Coast, and I also work as a project manager with NYXL and Subliners. So that's pretty cool.
Wow, nice to meet you, Foggy.
Thanks. Nice to meet you all too. I've
Just
never
meeting
met any of
Foggy
you
now.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is our first interaction.
I think we're the
Yeah.
only two that haven't actually met.
That's true, actually. We just kind of jumped in here and started a podcast together. That's crazy.
You,
That's
What a
crazy
great start.
behavior. Yeah.
yeah, you have no idea who he is. Once he gets to his
I'm an
introduction, that'll
enigma.
be
I'm
the
gonna
first
about to
time.
spill
Yeah.
everything.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's how your intro matters. So
True.
Real, actually.
Yeah, it's actually important. I don't really know who you are either.
I'm just
so,
a nobody, man.
he just
Well,
shows
you'll
up
find out.
sometimes.
who wants to give a little bit about themselves next? Just a quick little introduction.
It is me next.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm Mumbo. I'm a graphic designer, and I've been designing for 2 years and a half now. And I originally started off in Overwatch, the Tier 3 scene, and then slowly moved my way up into Contenders. Contenders represent. But, so I originally joined NYXL, my first, like, big org, and then I worked with them for about 5 months. And then I, slowly transitioned into working with Esports Engine. I started in esports because I mainly played a lot of Overwatch as well. I wasn't very good where Foggy was, but I did play it a lot, and I realized that playing the game wasn't fulfilling enough for me to continue it. So I decided to pick up graphic design as a hobby, and it turned into this. And now I do cool stuff. I worked on ALGS recently, and I recently worked on what is it? Can't remember. The CDL Major 1. I did that recently as well. And there's other stuff I'm working on. Can't say, but you'll see. That's me.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Can I say it, though, if you can't say it?
Yeah,
No.
you lend it to me, I say it out
Each
loud.
other's secrets.
I can't
Hey,
lie.
you're under the NDA. I'm not. So, yeah.
You're on the Agreement Breaker podcast.
That'd be a great podcast. Just finding a
rip
way to
it.
break NDAs
Rip it
without
problems.
actually breking them. Yeah, just causing problems.
So as we organically do intros, does that mean I'm organically, really naturally next?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. So I'm Mark or Yuio, and I
How do you
started
spell
in
Mark?
Yeah, how
oh
do you spell your
properly,
name?
correctly even. Guess.
MIQ.
I don't know. A lot of people spell
Yeah,
Mark
sorry?
differently, and I just want to
Yeah.
make sure it's
Yeah.
the same way.
How do you
Yeah,
spell
correctly.
What's
How do you
what's
spell it?
correct?
Well, just say it out like you know.
Oh, like MARK?
No. I
That's
said
close
right.
though.
That's close. You're only one letter
is-
off. That's good for you.
WARK? What's the letter? I don't know.
MARC, like a real.
MARC. Okay.
Okay.
Well, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry. I
Okay.
just thought we
Yeah.
had
So
to-
I started in Overwatch. Smiley face.
Sounds like
Playing
we
for
all
a
have
team
something
called the
in common.
Toronto Tide Pods. That was a team name. And for that team, I thought graphic design was cool for some reason, so I made us banners and game day posts. And then eventually, I joined an org called Nocturnal, which I really wish I hadn't, because I had to meet some really like awful people in the scene that I'd rather not talk about.
Oh,
Like Callow. It was like this
Okay.
really weird guy that was like super just absorbed in himself and like really thought he was like running this great team. And I'm not really sure what he was doing there, but luckily I got out of there and started
Sounds like
working
a
on
pain in the ass.
I started working on a contenders team called Susano. Their staff as well. A little bit of a problem there.
weren't you a part of
There's
the
this
staff though?
Like,
Yeah,
I
there
just
was-
get straight into
I was
it.
on the
Love
staff. There was this guy called Callow, and
Oh, same person.
it. Right.
he was a little bit self-absorbed, and
Don't you have HR?
he probably amounted to nothing, didn't he?
yeah, he didn't
It
really
sounds like
become
a-
anything. And at the same time, like the HR was also awful. His name was Callow. He was a little bit
Same
self-absorbed.
person? Okay.
Yeah. And so I've worked in contenders on like Susano, Odyssey, lots of tier 2 Overwatch work. I've done a couple freelancing contracts in different places. One with Momo that looked really cool, and we're totally gonna make a Behance for it. Post project, that's definitely gonna happen. We definitely didn't forget about that 3 times.
6 months later.
Yeah.
But
That's me.
That's the worst. Making a Behance project.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
should
I
organically
just
move
don't
to the
use
next
that.
person.
I just don't.
Same.
I'm-
I definitely don't.
I've
use
given
it.
up. I'm like, I'm doing my own thing. Whatever.
I'm praying I don't ever get fired because my portfolio and resume will never be updated again.
Are
It's
you,
Oh, I had to
What's
update my
the
resume
last?
recently.
I feel like
wanna-
that's a mistake.
wanna
That
that
check
seems like a
myself.
mistake.
updating the resume or what I'm doing.
Have you put any of
Your
your TSM
portfolio.
work into a port?
Oh, I haven't
No?
put any work in over a year on my portfolio.
You should probably
Wow.
get on that.
I haven't.
I
That's
just
just
can't.
a mistake.
I actually
I'm
haven't
s-
touched my resume in like 5 months. I know I should though.
I'm this close to paying someone to make a Behance project for me. Like this
people
close
do
to-
that?
I'm sure I could find someone. I'm sure I could.
Fiverr.
Just be like, I'll
Yeah, I was
give you
gonna
50
say
bucks.
on Fiverr.
How much?
Yeah. Can you make my Behance project
I'll
and
do
make
it
it look
250.
acceptable? Not doing 250.
Mm.
But I am telling you what I
If you
am
paid me to do
doing.
it, I would put little like Easter eggs in your Behance project
Mm-hmm.
and like put a little Among Us on every single graphic somewhere.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be mad if it got past me and I clicked publish. Then hey, that's on me. That's not even you
Honestly,
win.
I win.
My favorite thing to
You
do
win.
on graphics is actually hiding a little Among Us character. I actually have like an asset of just. Among
Wait,
Us
I
with
think I've
different-
seen a
different
video of
colors.
you like hiding on an on a Excel graphic. Wait, I remember
I
that.
do it way too often.
That's what, okay. I'm the only non-designer here. That's what I would do if I did design. I would literally hide things in every graphic. That's
There are
so
some
weird.
I've seen
interesting
your
things that I've
designs,
made.
so they're fire. They're fire.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Now we're gonna have to one day on this podcast just go through any end of my Excel graphic and be like Among Us or not, and we have to find out see if we can find it.
You're doing like a bigger picture project thing where like in a year you go back and you tie every single post together and it makes like one giant Among Us.
This is a
Just as,
Where
like-
Waldo.
Yeah.
That's such.
Oh my-
Oh
what if
my
you
god, the
wrote, like, a
outline and it's
story?
moving through the
Yeah.
graphic and it's.
That would
Like
be
one of those
so
flip
cool.
books. Yeah.
Talk about
That would
narrative
actually-
design. God damn.
That's
Think of the
I don't
whole
have that big
picture.
of a-
The whole picture.
the whole picture.
Anyways.
But I'll go ahead and go next. My
Organic,
name is
low.
Calla. I had something. I don't remember who it was. Someone interrupted it, but I had a very totally organic and totally not forced way to get into this. And I feel even me talking now is not very forced or organic. So just,
Yeah, get it going.
I lost my train of thought. I'm so
Bro,
sorry.
you're introducing yourself organically.
My name is Kalu. I'm organic. I am currently the 3D and motion designer for TSM, formerly known as Team Solo Mid. My start into esports is generic as anyone else's. I started when I was like 12 doing Minecraft intros, just as everyone else. The $15 ones you would sell be at the beginning of every YouTube video.
Just like everyone
That was
else.
me. Just like everyone else, 12-year-old
I did
me
that.
working in Cinema 4D, doing Minecraft intros, and who knew that 5 years down the line when I got into Overwatch, and I worked for this team called Nocturnal, and we had this really like guy on our team that just was a big problem, and I don't even remember his name. Started like 2Ys or something, but because he was such a stickler on my side, we brought him along to Susano, and me and him, we created some dope stuff there. And the rest is history. Became a designer, worked with Atlanta Reign for about a year, went full-time towards the end of that, worked with Noble, can't forget about them, they're dope.
Yep.
That seemed really fun.
It was.
Really thrilling.
Yeah.
To be honest, Noble, don't tell TSM this, but Noble was probably my favorite work environment ever.
It's a good thing we
We
never
all
got like
homie.
scammed out of money, right, Mama?
Yeah.
True. Also,
Who
did
needs
everybody
that?
here do like freelance work at the age of like 12? I feel like everybody was like nodding along, like, yeah, that was so me. Like,
No,
I was being
did
sarcastic.
not
I did-
participate in
I-
child
no.
labor.
I used to sell drawings of people's shibis on Gaia Online for their profile, and I used to do the profile HTML stuff. That was my.
That's
freelance.
impressive.
That
For a
is.
love
Thank
girl.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
That's
you.
it. That's a lot. How'd you make the?
Entrepreneurial spirit.
How much money did you make off that?
Like $2, bro. Like no one was buying. I didn't know how to
Huge.
receive money. It was all in-game currency.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I think, and don't tell anyone this because this
Yeah.
might be illegal. What I'm about to say. I think I made. Technically, Okay, here's what happened. I made
stays
like
between us.
That's a
100.
really good way to start a sentence.
Yeah. I love the way you're saying this.
I made like $100 off one Minecraft intro one time. It was awesome. It was dope. The guy charged back. I, as a 12-year-old, don't know how to handle that, so I made a new PayPal after being negative $100 in balance.
You're
Now-
still $100 in debt to PayPal to this day.
To
That's
PayPal
that's so
On
funny.
that account, I do not know the login or
Hey,
anything.
what
I did
asshole
not.
charges back a
Yeah, what the
12-year-old?
fuck?
What the fuck?
Another 12-year-old.
Probably
Like,
another 12-year-old.
another
Yeah.
12.
That's true. What 12-year-old knows how to charge back somebody? That's crazy.
Probably their mom.
hear me out.
who-
A
the credit card
13-year-old.
they
Oh,
used.
weight-based. True.
Yeah, so I remember that. I was
Dog
like,
eat
that
dog
was
world.
so technically I probably went negative with the money I made when I was there. So
You went
that's why I
into
was
debt
curious.
as a 12.
I went into debt as a 12-year-old in my
So
business.
I was about to ask you if you claimed that $100 on your taxes. I was gonna send the government after you for your 12-year-old $100.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I claim all of my earnings.
We all claim
Yeah.
all of our
Yeah.
earnings and submit
Surely.
it effectively to the government.
Sure.
so. If I'm in debt $100, do they owe me stuff for taxes? Like, is that how that works?
Yeah, the tax actually it goes in reverse.
It goes in reverse.
cancels
They owe
out.
me.
You know,
The more
so-
debt you're in, the more money they owe you.
When I go to
Yeah,
the tax place,
that's-
I'll ask them that question actually.
The tax place.
Thank you.
The
The
universal
tax-
tax place.
Yeah. you,
When I go-
well, you don't go to the tax store?
Yeah, the tax
Wait.
store.
On my brain.
Whatever that's
Oh,
called.
you're from Canada.
That's
You don't have a
every
tax
store.
store.
True. Oh, yeah, that's really true, man. I really gotta get used to these American customs. My
Yeah.
bad.
You don't. You have. Wait. What do you have?
The non-tax store.
Well, we have a lot of non-tax stores. Any store
We
that's
have-
not a
yeah,
tax
that's
store
true.
is a non-tax store, to be clear.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have a tax store? Is that a thing? I thought that
No.
was a joke
So
we were making.
esports. We're
No.
so
Okay.
talking esports.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
so
yeah.
chatting esports right now.
But if
I
you're
love
telling me you're
esports.
not a listener right now and you heard us talk about this so-called tax store that you wouldn't be interested yourself, I was just in the I was just helping the viewers out, letting them know it's not real. I knew
I
it
think I
wasn't
was
real.
gaslighting you there for a little bit. You looked a little too invested. That's kind of
Yeah.
kind of weird.
I was-
You were worried that you hadn't found the tax store all your life.
There's a
You were like,
non-tax
Missing
store.
something.
I didn't know there's a tax store and there's
bad.
non-tax stores. It's just,
well, yeah, there's duty frees. There's no
It's a
tax.
lot.
And New
One day.
Hampshire. You know.
Yeah.
This in the
Just over the state line, about that way.
Yeah, just go. Just start going.
Mhm.
I
They
like
sell
your Bingus
soju.
poster also.
Do
I just
they?
realized.
Yeah, they sell soju because we don't sell soju in Vermont. It's fucked up.
Well, I know that. This place sucks.
Yeah. That's all I
We
have to
hate
say.
That's cool.
Vermont.
Real.
We do.
Real.
Yeah.
I've never
Get me
been.
out.
Okay. Well, I guess that's
them and their 12 people.
what do you say?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was
That-
gonna say
Vermont
that was
had 12
that's a
people.
good natural transition to me.
Oh.
True. Anyway,
Organic, even.
Organic,
Who
you
are
would
you?
say.
Can you
so
can you focus
much like-
up? Like,
What?
with your camera?
I don't know how to make it go.
Just put nope, don't smack it. Just put your hand up like this, right, and then bring it back slowly. No,
That was so
way too
fast.
Okay, sorry, I'll go slower.
It actually
There,
works.
you did it.
Oh,
Smooth.
wow.
Dude, he has some magic. That's crazy.
Hire me tech support.
No.
I am
Yeah.
so ready.
These are the secrets they're listening for. This is it.
This is a, sorry to all the listeners of the podcast who aren't actually watching. We just fixed his camera.
Yeah.
Thanks,
So
guys. We fixed it.
that's what you wanted to hear. I know it was.
All right, so much like the rest of us, I started in Overwatch. I was just a ranked player for like 2 years, and then I went to college, and then did collegiate before it was really a thing. So I was just kind of hanging out and getting my degree. But then, like esports wasn't my intended destination originally, and I'm not sure if it still is. But eventually there was this internship with the NYXL, which I landed somehow, which was very strange and nebulous and not very concrete. The person that was my contact for this internship that was supposed to be guiding me along kind of like no longer existed halfway through the internship, so nothing really just kind of fell apart. Esports, man.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that you were.
It was like
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Oh,
Well, you
that
did,
was
like,
so
the-
good
it was
for
like-
me. I've only
Yeah,
been
it
here
was-
for years.
it
It was
long
before
ago.
our time.
You did like the NYSL Mayhem stuff, right?
Yep, I did all their
Yeah.
like mobile Call of Duty stuff that I don't even know if it exists anymore.
Oh, didn't that like, and you got yelled at
Mobile
for like
Call of
stealing the
Duty?
Florida font or something?
Oh no, that wasn't me. I didn't
Oh,
make. That was someone who like made the branding. I just took
Oh.
the branding and made breakouts. The person who made the branding got yelled at for stealing a font. I was like, that's not on me.
I remember
And that's
that drama.
and that's why they
So you're
disappeared.
the face behind that drama. I'm gonna just pin it to you because I don't
It's
know the other
all
guys.
my fault.
It's
I
all your
caused it.
fault. Wow. You're the villain of the podcast.
That's fitting.
That was established before we heard
Yeah, I
about the
think
whole
we were already on
NYSL.
that wave. So eventually, I don't know, my design experience expanded. I saw, I think it was some of Styles' work for Young and Beautiful. It was
Oh,
that
the
it was
clap.
that original
Yeah.
that 3D trailer, and I was like, holy shit, I need to
paved the
figure out how
way.
to do that.
They
I was
did.
like, god damn. So I spent that summer and up till now figuring out what 3D was. I went into Blender. I've been slowly figuring it out, trying to learn as much as I can. Eventually, I met Mark because we're both in Vermont and we both go to the same school, or went to the same school. I've since graduated. So that was
Congrats.
that was
Call
kind
that
of my
destiny?
way.
As they call that destiny.
Yeah, exactly. We're meant to be.
Yeah, I was expecting you to talk about this like enigmatic figure that like entered your life at like a trying time, to send you on your esports journey. But the way you
my
told it was
my
fine.
mentor came
Yeah.
and showed me the way.
Your lesser, worse mentor person.
Eventually that, I think, I don't know, you like recommended me to a position or whatever, and it was with Wisp, who I'm still with, and that's been a bunch of like exploration for me. It was a bunch of 3D stuff, a bunch of 2D stuff, really like building out the building blocks of esports for me. And then that's eventually turned into, recently I've done some work with The Shock. I did their roster reveal most recently, and some unannounced projects that are going out soon, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then also some more unannounced stuff with Riot that I've recently done. So
Oh, yeah.
good for me, I
Good
guess.
for you.
That's sick. Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, my journey has been like quick. Like I haven't been around for a long time, and it feels like I've been going quickly forward. So that's kind of scary to me. But right now I'm really trying to do it freelance because I have like a job in marketing here. So it's like very tertiary for me right now, but it's definitely a point of passion. So I'm
Yeah,
happy. I'm doing
Tertiary.
it.
That's how it always
That's
That's
starts.
such
such
a
a word.
that's
You
such a
always
big
start
word.
doing it on the side. And then
What was the big
inevitably-
word?
No, I like how
Tertiary.
Foggy gave like a good like answer back to what you said. Me and Cal are both here. It's like tertiary.
We're just talking about tertiary.
You guys are
I
like-
use that word like
Yeah.
that.
Sorry.
I was saying like that's usually how it starts. I feel like you always like end up doing esports and like working in esports and gaming is like a passion project just because it's something you enjoy to do, especially for creatives. I find, and then inevitably it just like consumes your life, and everybody gets their break eventually if you work hard enough and do good work. So you should get a job at Riot. I went to their campus recently and it's so sick. I get why people like live their lives there on the campus. It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, usually, like, agreeing with Chief, like, in esports, people, like, do it as, like, a passion. It's, like, most of us do it for free at some point, and then we eventually get so good to the point where people recognize us and like we get grabbed and poached.
Yeah.
And sometimes you do it for free on accident.
We don't talk about
True.
that.
Classic
We
mistake.
don't talk about
Drifters. Drifters was such a passion
that was-
project.
That wasn't an accident, though. That was on
I
purpose.
know, that was on purpose. It was so
Oh.
fun.
Okay.
I missed original Drifters.
Breaking
So
drama.
Yeah, you-
I remember. Had we started design yet, you when Drifters came around? I don't think so,
I
right?
think that was Styles too. Styles.
Yeah,
That was-
I
that was
loved
Styles
working
as
with
well.
Styles. Every day
Yeah.
I strive to work with Styles again. He's so good. He's so
I
easy to
remember-
work with too.
This is a Styles fan club podcast.
Yeah, we're all
This
just
is-
like
this is a Styles fan club.
before this, we're like, don't talk shit about anybody, and now we're just spending the whole podcast gassing up Styles.
He's
So
the
worth
guy.
Okay, I'll
it.
bring him down. I'll be the
Deserve
one.
it.
I'll be the one. I hate it. No, I'm just kidding. It's funny though that you mentioned that you would do anything to work with him again, because the four of us that are designers will actually more than likely never work with him because we all
True.
basically do the same thing as
Yeah,
him.
you
So
do essentially the closest related things. Yeah.
We are our
you know,
direct
I hope I
competition.
never work with
Yeah.
him. I hope
I
I
don't-
take his job.
Yeah, I'm
Where
the
do we
only-
get this
I'm the
idea that
only-
I do
He is
3D
my
in videos?
competition.
I'm the
I
only
don't do
technically
3D in
non-creative
videos, Kala.
on roster.
No, it's not even 3D videos. At this point, esports orgs are trying to get
Yeah.
the all-in-one person. They
Yeah.
can just they do everything. But so I feel
Which I think is.
that's a different topic. But
Well, you can go into it.
Yeah, I would
we-
love to
we wanna
complain.
Go into it that I think.
Sure.
I mean, let's. I'm gonna not beat around the bush, but if we look at the past 6-7 months in gaming, and it's a hard time on the economy right now for sure. I mean, we see so many layoffs, and I think with how talented creatives are getting and how overworked people are in esports and how passionate it is, I think there's eventually in the next couple of years, if we don't, if there's no fix in this, that some teams are just going to be held down by one person who can do it all, right? They'll pay, instead of rather paying 4 designers 60-70 grand, they'll pay one guy 125, and he'll be happy with it because he's getting a lot more than he would.
Burn him out in a year time. Like
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
the
It's
problem.
like a fire.
And you
Yeah.
move on to the next
that's
guy.
just- yeah, that's
You
like a
just
worse
get the next
solution.
person. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
definitely is something that could be
Companies
happening in the
trying
future.
to
Just
I think the generalist role is definitely where it's trending.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's the master of all versus the master of one conversation. And
Yeah,
it's like,
but
are you
it's
really going to master everything if you're spreading yourself so thin? And I think that's, I don't know if that's true or not. Like, there are certainly things where if you're putting yourself in all these buckets, you're never going to learn it all. But I think with design, it's like similar enough that you're kind of in the same realm with a lot of things, like a lot of transferring over, like After Effects and Blender and whatever. There's like keyframes, there's blending modes in Photoshop and in After Effects. It's like there's like commonalities, but I'm not sure if I don't know. What you
But
guys
it's also
think about
Adobe, and so half the commonalities that you think
that. Are
you know, you
backwards
don't.
and wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's weird.
I don't know.
if
Go for it.
esports take it serious, like I totally agree with you saying. I'm sorry to cut you off. I'll be really short. But if esports starts to take and not just designing like seriously, like all social media, every staff position, if they take it seriously and they can sit there and make a genuine connection to revenue, which a lot of esports teams don't as of right now, if they can get it to actually do the revenue, then I think for sure they're going to want the specialists, the people that can put Pirelli to the top. But at this point, they just want people to do the work. They don't care about the quality. You see people, designers who are also social media managers, which is crazy.
Oh, I've seen that. It
That's-
never works that well.
It's,
Yeah.
Some are insane.
Or social.
to be
I mean,
fair.
I've seen companies use social media managers as
Yeah.
designers,
Yeah,
and like
some are insane.
people who are not naturally creatives too. And it's like really unfortunate that people get pressured into those kinds of roles. And like I understand, like especially in esports where people like prey off of the passion and the want to be involved in something bigger in gaming. I've seen so many people take advantage of that and just push people into free labor, like overworking themselves, doing jobs that's not technically theirs, and it's super disappointing to see. So I hope that we don't keep easing into a generalist role, because I think it'll be
Yeah.
the end of esports technically. Like for
Yeah,
me at least,
yeah.
I see like no one's gonna want to work in an industry like that, or should want to work in an industry like that.
Well, yeah. If the roles aren't like I don't know, like speaking from working at a agency here, like our roles are defined. Like what you do on a day to day is this is it. If you don't do this, it's someone else's problem. So like the intermixing of a role becomes kind of a problem. It's like if a client is sending you something and you're also the point of contact as well as the designer, things are going to get muddied. You're going to get like mad at them because it's like there's more personality in your role that's not supposed to be there. So it's like, I agree. Like right now, I don't think that there's a support structure in esports that's there that allows for that system to be there, which kind of sucks.
My role technically as like an influencer manager, like I do act as a liaison between so many different departments, and I do dip my like feet in many different pools. So it's like funny to see that works that way. But I think when you start putting that kind of responsibility into non-social roles is where you really see it getting really muddied.
Yeah.
I mean, the esports bubble is just popping, if not popped, if somewhere. While the creative bubble, I feel like, is just swelling, but like in a good way. There's so many more creatives that I see just on a regular basis, especially with 3D stuff. I mean, even if I get a little mad when I see like 3D generalist in like every single person's bio, I'm just like, what does that mean?
Yeah,
like
that
that's not a real thing, but maybe it is, and maybe I'm just old.
No,
but like,
You're 20. Don't call yourself old.
Yeah,
I'm 21.
You're 20?
You're
I'm
21.
turning
21.
27 in 2 months.
Yeah, it's
I'm
rough.
Happy
an
early
old
birthday.
lady, thanks.
I turned 24 like 3 months ago. So, all good.
Oh, well, sorry, it's just you and me left. How old are you, Si?
I'm 22.
22. I'm 21. Now we all
Yeah.
know.
God, I'm actually
Me and Cal are the
older
same
than all of
age.
you.
Until
You're the same
fine.
person, I think.
next month.
It's all good.
It's just
So
think
you
about
fit
it.
in. You fit in. It's all good.
If you average out our ages, it's not that far apart.
True. I look like I'm 22, so I don't really care.
Yeah,
That's all
it's
that
kind of
matters.
weird if you like average all the ages in like a group, then you get a number that's not that far from all of them.
Shh, that was the point.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Math. Crazy.
I hate math. That's why I do what I do. Dude,
Yeah,
I
I'm
was
a
I,
designer.
did- I went to
Sports.
school for community and justice services, and I did a 2-year program, and I was gonna go and get my master's, but they told me that I had to take a math course, so I fucking quit. I was like, I'm not pursuing past a degree or a diploma or whatever it was. And then I started getting into gaming, so it worked out, I guess. But
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I was given
That's
a math
funny.
course
I
at
literally,
college,
I
so
hate math. That's why I date a computer programmer, because he knows all the math, and I can just
Yeah.
make his phone calls for him, you know?
There you go.
It works out.
It's funny. In college, I started off as an economist, I think is the term. I
That just
majored
doesn't
in-
sound right, even if it
Economist.
is.
He's an economist. Watch
I don't
out.
know. I opened up. It was funny because I opened up. I hate math, but I was like, I wanted to be a lawyer. That's what I always wanted to be as a lawyer, and I still think I want to be a lawyer. I don't know. Maybe we'll
Love
find
arguing.
out. I do love arguing. I love it so
Yeah,
much.
too much.
No, but the number one degree that you get into law school with is oh my gosh.
A law
Is
degree.
it the one that you are now?
No, it's
Take the
not.
bar.
It's
Just
not.
try take the
GG,
bar.
I
Don't go to
guess.
any school.
Psychology. It's psychology.
That's
what it is.
psychology was
Really?
my favorite course in college. It was.
Yeah.
It was my favorite one.
The top chances to get into law school is if you take a psychology. If you're a psychology major, aside from
crazy.
the actual like
Law
criminal
degree.
justice majors and this is the specified law majors, like the general ones, psychology is number one. But I was like, I don't know what I want. If I don't become a lawyer, what am I going to do with a psychology degree? There was nothing that really interested me there.
Real
So
estate.
the number 2 one was economics, and I was like, okay, I hate math, but I feel like an economics degree is a smart degree that I feel like it could maybe get me a different job if I didn't want to be a lawyer. So 3 years into college, took me 3 years to finally say I hate math, and I dropped from economics. I'm now a marketing major because it does with my job kind of, and I had to reset my entire like college. I had to take an extra year and a half now.
Oh my
I
God,
think
that
That's fucked.
hurts my soul
Because
because
That's crazy.
I have looked at the prices as the Canadian here. Like I paid maybe like for my 2-year program, maybe I think like 6 or 7 grand, and that was it. And then I look at American school prices, and you guys are paying like upwards of 40 grand USD for like one single
One
year.
semester.
I'm like, what the fuck? Can I
pretty
also
chill.
can I swear? I
It's
think
a-
no, yeah, you can.
I've
swear.
been swearing. So yeah, what the
sworn.
fuck? Like that's so much money. What the hell?
Just
And
like
then you-
one
oh,
class was
God.
like 2K for me.
It's-
Yeah.
It's funny you say that because I actually
have
I have a scholarship, right? So I go, what do you call it? And it covers 125 hours worth because it's like a high school in-state. I don't know. It's because I got like a 3.5 in high school or something. So it's a full ride scholarship in any state, but it covers 128 hours or something like that. And because I had to restart my degree, kind of, as of right now, there's one class that's not going to be covered by it, and that class is going to cost me like $3 grand.
That's so.
When I finally get to it.
messed up.
Love that
Oh my
for you.
God.
That's
I hate
hilarious.
that.
That's really chill, actually. That's super
Damn.
cool.
It's insane.
Remember when you were like, you're gonna finish in 3 years instead?
Oh my god, I'm so sad you said that because that makes me even more sad.
Oh, no,
I was
I
on
didn't
track
mean
to
it like
finish
that.
in 3 years. I took 6 classes a semester plus summer semesters.
You should
And I was
just
on track
drop
to
out and
finish
go
it.
into esports, I think.
I kind of want to.
That's
but
really
I'm
stable,
so close
too.
to finishing. I'm like,
No,
You're
yeah,
retire,
don't listen
like,
to
a
me.
week ago.
Yeah, you're like so close.
You go through
I'm
all
less-
of that and spend all that money and then don't get anything from it. Don't do that.
I've told my parents, I was like, if I wasn't less than a year away from graduating, I would probably not like quit, but I would definitely put a pause on it just while I'm in esports. I'd figure out if I really want to do this and then go back. But
What would everybody here be doing if they didn't get into gaming or esports?
Well, see, I'm at graphic. Oh, you go for it, Wilma. I'm
I'm
bad at talking.
No.
I don't know why I'm on this thing. It's a problem. You should go though before I keep rambling.
Yeah,
My original career path, I was actually going to be a dental hygienist. I was going to work on teeth.
Ooh, making the bank. Let's
And
go.
I took graphic design as a class with my other like classes, and I realized that was a lot more fun than being a dental
Yeah.
hygienist, and I just dropped it all, just focused on it, and then the reason why I don't go to school anymore is because my graphic design program was completely cut. from the
Oh
college.
shit.
So I had to
You
like
said-
self-teach.
Interesting. All right.
so
Yeah.
Mark, what about
you say, wait, hold on real quick. You say design was fun and the dental hygiene wasn't, but did you ever try, like the doing it on people, like the dentist stuff?
You can
See,
practice
you have
on
a
me, Mama.
point.
The
You have a
dentist stuff.
point.
Yeah, you don't know until you
I
try.
don't have
You done
dental
that.
insurance. You can do it on me. It's fine.
Have you ever
Oh, yeah,
cleaned a
okay.
tooth? You don't have dental insurance? Oh,
no,
you're in Canada.
yeah,
Canada.
I would have insurance through my main job at Beast Coast, but because I'm a Canadian, I have to be a contract worker because I can't get on like Gusto or whatever it is. Get me a visa. Move me to the US.
Monkey.
I'm working on it.
He'll get it done.
Yeah, I'll be on that.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to college for graphic design. We could spend a whole hour talking about if that's a good decision or not. I myself don't really know, but I don't know. I think it's important to like me and like more so even like my family that I get a degree. So I'm like pretty.
Do you think
Sure, I'm just
traditional
gonna finish
schooling
it.
for it like helps you with like your like skilling in graphic design?
You say that.
The classes I am taking right now, I don't know. I'll tell you, Saya's gone through my major, like graduated from the college I'm at. And my biggest problem with our curriculum is graphic design is inherently collaborative. Like you work with other people so often,
Yeah.
and none of our curriculum works at all with other people.
Is
I
a
think
lot
I'm
of
learning-
it
You have critiques, but these critiques are people sitting there in silence.
Yeah,
So
like,
it's not
I'm learning the
particularly
fundamentals, and I'm learning like all the concepts, and like I'm learning good stuff. But at the same time, it's like schmeep and also schmob.
How do you guys feel
Experience
like?
would be
Because
better.
I'd imagine that like going to school for graphic design, a lot of the material that they'll pull from and reference is traditional media, so like sports and fashion and whatnot. How do you feel that differentiates between gaming design and do you see a lot of like similarities? between
Gaming
the two?
design or like esports design and like traditional design is so far different. The closest that we have is like sports graphics,
Yeah.
and even then, like our professors are pulling from like pretty Vermont like handbooks and like recipe magazines and
when
stuff
I was,
like.
there you finish.
No, that's about it. It's just it's very different, but like the disciplines and like stuff we're learning about is still like valuable for sure.
Yeah, it was like the add-on to what you were saying. It was like when I was going to school for design, we weren't taught really any sports graphics. That was like a completely different field, as well as like esports design is a completely different field for general graphic design. General graphic design, what I was taught in school was like making stuff like a tissue box, your chip bags, your like basic things. Like those were the things they really hammered home, and like how to understand print and like how to like jump on those things. So they really like esports design and as you just said, sports design are like the closest thing together, and that is about as far as it gets. Esports design is like its own unique entity by itself, and it's kind of wild. It's like sparks a lot of creatives, as well as like sports design, because if you're going into like general design, you're mainly going in to just make cereal boxes, or like the next McDonald's bag.
I find that really interesting because oh sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, I was just say product design is cool. I really like
It
product
is,
design.
yeah.
I think product design is cool if it's in a cool campaign.
That's true.
You know, like,
Yeah.
like there's a lot of like brand identities and stuff out there that are just like really pushing it, and it's like whether it's you're going with like some weird gridded thing or some abstract 3D shape on a print, that's really cool. But like, I don't know, me referencing, like you said, like a McDonald's bag. I'm like, that's kind of fucking boring. Like, whatever.
I like seeing traditional like companies and media do collabs with esports. Like Doritos doing stuff in the gaming space is really cool to see, because their branding is so like fun to work with, from what I've heard from the designers.
Yeah.
So I like seeing that, but it's cool to see that, like, I think esports as a whole is so grassroots and so like passion based, and it comes, and you see that in every like aspect, every like nook and cranny in the scene, and it's cool to see how like graphic design kind of grows from that as well, and how it differentiates from traditional media in that sense. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I would say like trying to transition from like doing regular esports design into more of a traditional, for me, my experience at EA, it's definitely was like really hard at first for the first 2 months, because like I just wasn't used to like, oh, there's no try to advertise like a like put like sparks all over certain things, like when you do general esports design, it's, for me, it's like always just trying to one up the next graphic, but for like general like product design and like making sure everything's like everything needs to be kind of the same. And like I work with print, I work with like LEDs, I work on live shows, and it's like that's like the closest I've gotten to so far of like doing general like product design and like just general like design in general, where like everything's pretty simple, but like it can also be like expanded upon. And my boss also told me like the most like creative part about our job is the 3D or the transitions. That's as far as we really can go, unless we're given creative freedom, which on my next project I've given some creative freedom. I'm excited to tell you guys about it, but yeah.
Nice. Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, especially what you said with esports graphics, like it's always like just make something cooler.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it feels like sometimes. Like I feel like so much of graphic design, especially what I'm taught, is about like gaze and about like what you're trying to like get your viewer to think or tell or something along those lines. And in esports design, it's like, how can I make something that everyone likes and retweets the most because it's the coolest?
Yeah, make pretty picture.
You make pretty picture.
We make our own rules, basically.
Yeah.
Like the way, I don't know, the way I've been trying to like push myself recently in improvement and like trying to like just get more knowledge and how I can incorporate that into like a traditional design role is like, how can I take my 3D work and just apply it to like product design and like product display? Like if I'm trying to display some packaging, how do I bring that into a 3D space? And I think that's an interesting like overlap of skill set. So it's like, if you have that kind of foundational knowledge of traditional print, how do you bring that into a 3D space, and even that into esports? Like what's the pipeline there? And I think there's a more streamlined idea than maybe you would think, just from like personal experimentation recently. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd agree. It's revolutionizing a ton. Like revolutionizing in the esports world. I guess like the stuff we're doing isn't like if you go outside to like a 3D agency, we're all getting our asses handed to us in like a one-on-one 3D thing, for example, right? But in esports, like this is it's crazy to say that we actually know, Raging Styles, right? I think he was the very first person, maybe not in esports, but in Overwatch to do 3D. And it's crazy to say that we know him personally. Like, what?
I thought it was
No,
I thought it was Susano. I was gonna say, like, I was gonna say as a Revolution joke that the first people that did 3D in Overwatch was you. I'm pretty sure.
Actually, the first people in 3D that was in New York.
Well, I'm not too surprised either way, because like esports is still such a like baby in comparison to like other conglomerates and like big scenes. I mean, esports is still such a young industry, and if we're talking about Overwatch specifically, that game is only like 5 or 6 years old now at this point.
That seems like so long ago though.
I know, and it really does feel like a lifetime away, especially for like a lot of us that like got our break and are now like working for bigger companies or have worked on bigger projects and worked with bigger companies. Like, it is truly like such a long time away, but at the same time, it is still just like such a tiny blink. Like, the game is still just like new, and the scene is
now
still
it's new
just
again.
New.
So.
Yeah.
Fun fact. To make us all feel old, Stranger Things didn't exist at that time when Overwatch first came out.
That kind of stuff doesn't faze me anymore. I'm too old for that. I'm like, nothing existed when I did things, like, and now it does.
Nothing did.
I'm a
wow.
grandma.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear like your takes on traditional media and esports, especially as someone who's not a designer, and seeing like what the comparison is. So I like talking about that. If you have more input, but
I like having someone that's not a designer to move our very slow,
Yeah.
not working brains forward.
I got you.
We're all
So,
just sitting here thinking about shapes.
Well, this is my job, right? I mean, I partly call my position as an influencer manager, a relationships manager, and that is a big portion of what I do too, because I act basically as I work in the best interest of the company that I'm working for. In this case, it's Beast Coast, but I also simultaneously work in the best interest of my creators and my roster members, competitively or not, to kind of find that middle ground always in everything that we're doing and always keep the clear line of communication there. So yeah, this is kind of like just what I do anyways. So
I'm trying to be an influencer on
talk
Beast
a
Coast so you
lot.
can take care of me.
We've talked a lot about design. What is like, a quick rundown of a day for you, like a normal day? Like I know what the four of us do. Like we go on our computers and we cry for a little bit, and then we do our design, right? So what's like a normal day in your job?
For me,
'Cause
every day is different. Every single day is different. I mean, like I do my like meetings with all my creator and roster members. I mainly am focusing on FGC right now, since we do have team managers for like Dota, for example, who handle most of their day to day. But I'm definitely most hands-on with like our FGC members. But every day is different. I work very closely with our socials team, with our graphics team, with our sales team. I work directly with sponsors. For example, recently we did a Secret Labs activation, and I was talking directly with the company, making sure that every creator was following through with their deliverables and a set timeline. It's partly project management as well, which is helpful considering that my other job is project management. Those skills are extremely transferable between my two jobs, which I very appreciate. But every day is literally different. It depends completely on like what projects we're working on currently, what the creators' needs are, tying loose ends on things that need to be dealt with, making sure that there's clear communications between rosters and the company. Like it is just so different every day. Today was a hard day, especially just because we had a couple layoffs ourselves. So that was I literally did those and then logged off. I said I need to take a break because I hate that's the worst part of my job. I hate doing that. So
Oh, you do that too. That's crazy.
yeah, it's not. But I also hire people, so I do both sides of it.
Oh, you're like the hiring manager as well?
Oh well, I mean, depends. So like currently, we just did our event at Genesis. I mean, I was in LA and San Diego 2 weeks ago for 10 days. We started in San Diego for Genesis 9. We had our booth there at the convention. With I think there was 5 of our roster members there on the floor competing and doing TO and casting. And then I road trip down to San Diego or to LA with our content director and the owner of our company, Grant and Cav. And then we did the Pokemon Invitational with Ludwig, Boxbox, Lily Pichu, just to name a few, Sakuno, like all of them. That was super, super rewarding. But after we do events, I typically like to do event debriefs with every roster member that was there just to see, did they get enough support in leading up to the event? Was there any way we could improve their competition? Did they feel enough support on the floor? How did they enjoy the booth? Like, was there a clear line of communication between the company and the player during like the event, et cetera, et cetera? And one of the things that I've recently been working with my creators is seeing if we could look into either competitive mental coach or a dietitian to help our roster members prepare better for competition. So currently I'm doing that and just looking into what resources are available and what like prices are and what exactly like how exactly this could benefit our creators and who would take advantage of it. So that's my current project that I'm dealing with at the moment.
Yeah, and you find someone that has to suggest to your players, maybe you don't go to In-N-Out the first time you fly into California. Maybe that's not the move.
That's what I did. That's what I did.
I have one question that I raised right away, like when you started talking about it. How do you get like people to like, because you said you get people to like talk to you, right? And like you like run a brief and everything. Like how do you get them like to openly like trust you to like say stuff like that?
That question is so hard for me to answer because something that I've learned is that if you're good at something, it's hard to teach others how to do it because oftentimes the skill in it comes slightly naturally to you. So I started my career path in esports starting as a community manager because I knew that I like people and I like to talk to people. And inevitably, after doing a bunch of different roles throughout the scene, I figured out influencer management or talent management is my specialty because that is, where I find my skills are most valuable and where I find the most enjoyment out of the work that I do. And so for me, I've spent a lot of time personally working on myself to be someone who is approachable and to be someone who handles all conversations with a certain amount of tact. And those are my 2 main points and strengths that I have. And so oftentimes when I'm speaking with people, I find that they just open up. I don't know how to say it. Like, it sounds so dumb to say, but like, I think I naturally, it's hard. I don't know how to teach someone how to do that.
She just has that charisma. That's what
I guess. I just like to teach. I like to treat people with a certain amount of like respect and warmth, and I think that pays off. And I like to create safe spaces for people that I speak with, and I think that
say the word,
creates
Mama.
a space.
I don't know what word you're referencing. I'm not gonna lie.
The second half of charisma, or no, the middle half. The middle half.
What?
So I got it. The middle half.
You're asking the worst person.
Okay,
Yeah.
take out the "ka" and the "ma" from charisma.
You're still asking the worst.
Riz.
We made it. We got there.
Esports Riz. But yeah, that's like, I don't know how to teach someone how to do that. I think that just, I'm very lucky.
Genuinely curious how you approached it, and that affected my answer. That's cool.
Yeah, I just try to handle. There's always, my motto is, there's always a way to handle something with tact. I don't think that there's any conversation that you can have that there's no way to handle it without tact. I think every conversation, there's definitely a way to approach it that way, and that's my goal, is to approach every conversation and deal with it the best way that I can. So
yeah, because like as a designer, I'm usually just by myself in my room, just in a box designing, making sure it looks pretty, and then like someone like you or someone that like works like a similar field like you like comes and approaches me, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like I'll listen, whatever.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I think it's a good contrast between our 2 jobs as well.
Yeah.
Because I definitely am on the more like extroverted social side of it, and I feel like graphic designers typically spend a lot of time without talking to other people, or at least my understanding of it.
Yeah.
You're designing most of the day. Feel free to correct me, but
Well, does anyone else have like in office like design experience? Like has anyone like, worked collaboratively in a space?
Yeah, when I worked at Atlanta full time, I was there for like 2-3 months in office before I left.
Yeah, because like that kind of environment, there's a lot more face-to-face communication. It's like a lot. It's just like it because you build relationships with the people, and it's a lot easier to just like.
I heard it's a lot more productive as well, like being in person for feedback loops at least.
Oh, for that, sure.
Yeah.
I would say I'm still sitting at my computer scrolling on my phone about the same amount of time. But I think just like bouncing information back and forth is totally like just a much faster workflow, and I think in that respect there's more productivity. So yeah, that was my personal anecdote.
It is really nice to be able to, back when I worked at Atlanta, I worked in, I didn't get an office, right? And I worked, not that, hold on, sorry, that sounds like really like privileged right off the start.
I didn't get an office. I was there. They didn't give me one.
I worked in I worked in like the little cubicle. No, they're not cubicles. They're like, I don't know exactly what they are. They're like half cubicles, right? And that would be fine if I wasn't the only person there. So this massive room with a bunch of like half cubicles in it. It's me and this one other guy. His name is Shamel. Love that guy. He was actually really cool. He's probably my favorite person I worked with in Atlanta. And we call it the bullpen. We were the only people there in the bullpen. But he was the IT guy, so he wasn't there half the time. He was fixing stuff and helping the players and whatnot. So it was mainly just me. But it is really nice to be able to, walk across the bullpen and just knock on the office, and even in their middle meeting, be like, they're just like, oh yeah, well come look. And that's like, I don't remember the original point of the conversation, but I was pointing that there is huge advantages for designers to be in office, I think.
I think my question was like if it's more productive or not to be in office rather than work from home for design.
For sure. I feel definitely more motivated.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think your experience is a negative one, but like, that seems like it fucking sucked. So
that's more like a work culture and environment. That's a general work environment issue rather than like an office space issue, I think.
Yeah, it was like right after COVID too, so they were. I'm not gonna like sit there and like. It's not, they were rehiring. We were in the position of rehiring like 4 different roles. So the bullpen would have filled up if I had stayed. Just not that they just threw me out there and like deal with it. You're alone.
It's boomed.
But it's definitely more productive on getting a better quality graphic out. But I don't know if it's more productive for the mental, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Working from home, I feel a lot better, but I feel if I'm working in an office, the product, everyone's going to be more happy with it. Maybe if it doesn't look better, but everyone in the office will get their full say on it, and everyone will be happy. You don't have any regrets.
Because like for my job, like I think like maybe 30% of my job is like paperwork, for like bookings and travel budget, tracking and et cetera, like anything that I would need. But most of my job is just conversations. And like, sorry, my voice is, I didn't get water. Most of my job is just conversations, and I would partially say project management in a way. And so like for me, like the few times that I've been in person with my coworkers, we've gotten so much of my work done. It is so productive. I like cannot wait for the day that we get an office again and I can like go to the US legally and work there, because it would make my job so much easier. Just be able to like peek into someone's room and be like, hey, real quick question, and not spend like 30 hours waiting for a Slack DM.
Yeah, just waiting for like an email or a Slack DM or something.
Yeah.
Silly.
You could be like me. I force them to hop into a call. I'm one of those coworkers, and people hate me.
Oh,
I hate me. They have to hate me.
the huddle? You just hit the
Good
huddle?
way to
I
do
do
it
that
though.
with, like-
Force the issue.
I do that with some of our staff members, but with designers, I will not, because I understand that they are on a different schedule than me, and I will not because for me, my job, like I'm very lucky that both my jobs, I clock in at like 9:30, 10 in the morning sometimes if I'm sleeping in a little bit, and I clock out at like 6 p.m. and I don't have to look at my Slack until the next day. Mind you, I am available to my creators 24/7 just because I feel like I owe them that. I feel like that comes with my job. It's not something my company has like told me to do. It's something I've chosen to do myself. But I know that designers oftentimes like are working like insanely weird hours and like are just like up designing at like 2 in the morning. So like I will never pull a designer into a call and be like, you have to answer my question right now. I'm like, you could be sleeping. I don't know. Like as long as you get your work done, I don't really mind, right? So
Sometimes my schedule's like 9 a.m. all the way to like 7 sometimes.
yeah.
Or like 6.
It was weird, like shifting to like a normal work schedule, because like before I would be like nocturnal, and then it's like, well, I have to go into the office at 9 in the morning, and it's like a complete flip.
Yeah.
But I think it's done me some good. Like I'm definitely more of a productive morning person now. Like I can wake up and like immediately get to something instead of like procrastinating about it for 8 hours. So maybe that was like an acquired skill. But I think comfortability in your work hours is definitely something that I'm missing now. So it's like it's
And
this weird balance.
I was gonna say, it also like having proper work hours really affects your work-life balance too, and just your quality of life overall.
Yeah.
So.
It's definitely a lot more structured, which pretty good.
Plus, you're working freelance on top of normal work hours.
Yeah.
So you just never come out to anything ever. You're on hood watch. You just don't go. You don't go to things.
It's the way
He's
of
on the
world right
grind. On the grind. Grind
everyone in
culture.
esports?
Grind culture. That should be a next podcast chat.
Yeah. Grind culture.
Grind
Good or
culture.
bad?
Yeah.
Good.
Or
bad.
mentally
Good, bad,
deterionating or not?
And how
Let's talk about
prominent
that.
is it in the creative scene?
I mean, find the
Well,
balance
that last
between
one was a
hard work and
given. I
grind.
feel like
Yeah.
it's everyone 100%. Everyone's on the grind nonstop.
Yeah.
But actually, talking the opposite of grind, the one thing I want to ask both of you, when you did work in office, and anyone else who's ever worked in office, when you're done with your work, what do you do?
Hang
know,
out with
maybe-
my coworkers.
Just like in office, I just like sit there
Yeah.
and talk.
Just hang out.
I go like eat a snack, like walk around the building
Yeah.
for like half an hour.
Do yoga
That's it.
sometimes.
That's
Honestly,
it.
if there's space for it.
I don't. I had
Stretch
maybe
your
it was just
hamstrings.
maybe it was the weird. Like I said, I wasn't there for super long in Atlanta Reigns and FaZe. So I wasn't like super like acquainted with everyone there. I worked with them like the year prior, but like I'd never seen them in person. Even though they lived like 15 minutes away from me, I had never seen them in person until I walked into the office.
Yeah.
And so there would be some days I'm done with work at 1 PM, and I don't get off the clock till 5, and I'm alone in the bullpen a lot of the time, right? And the
I leave
players,
early. If I'm done, I just leave. I'm like, I'm leaving. Bye, guys.
I'm not going to say any names, but a specific person in the office would get mad at me for leaving early.
Really?
Yeah, they would. They would not let me leave early until there's another guy, and I don't know if I want to say his name. He's a good one, but I'm not going to say names at all. But there was my manager, my direct report. He, the computers we had set up there couldn't do 3D on them. They were like two 1080s, and the guy was like this is great for you. And I'm like, nope, it's not. And so
garbage,
my
Go
manager
great.
was like, he was like, did you gotta let Cage go home? He can't do his 3D stuff. So days that I was like done and had no work, he was like, now tell me you're working on 3D and you can go home. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like half the time I would just sit there because the players are in the player rooms, right? They're using the VOD rooms, they're using the scrim rooms, or they're working out because there's 2 teams there, right? And so I'm not supposed to be like, there's just nothing I really could have done. I could have worked out, I guess, but I felt weird working out next to.
I think it's
The
weird if a
gamers.
workplace holds you hostage somewhere if you have no work to do. I think that's so weird. I'm gonna
Yeah,
get water
I
one
was just-
second.
Oh, you're good.
Yes, you
I
weren't
think-
there. You weren't hitting the gym with OG.
I wasn't working the gym with OG.
You're not in there with Simp asking him COD
It's-
tips.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's actually this is really funny, and this is totally off topic and nothing to do with anything. But seeing the COD players, what time they arrive, and what time the Overwatch players arrive is crazy. COD players get there at 10, 11 in the morning, right? I get there like 10 or 11, so sometimes they even get there before me. Overwatch players, the earliest one was always Kai. He would always be there first. Or Gator. Sometimes Gator was there at like 8 a.m., I think. Or he was just there before I was. It was very rare there. Maybe he just didn't leave. It could be that too. No, but Kai would be normally the first one there, him or Nero. But I would never, I saw OG and Ultraviolet once when they came and toured the office. Never saw them again because they came in so late every day.
Also, like babies still. They're literally like like
Yeah.
18. So
Yeah.
They're
But
children.
like, it was just so funny that I would see the COD pros all the time. Like I actually I interacted with a few of them sometimes, but I would see half the team for the 3 months I worked there, and the other half would come in at like 6 at night. It's 7 at night. It was so funny. Just like I never thought about that difference till now. Till you said like, how did I see an OG in the? I don't know. That's what made me think of it. I don't know, but I just thought that's really funny because you would think that it wouldn't be that way, but I don't know. I didn't have a good segment. It's very non-organic
think.
now. Wherever we're
I have
going
a
now, I don't know
whole-
what's going
I have a
on.
whole thing because now that I've like worked. I mean, I think all of us here started in Overwatch, right? I believe, from what I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after expanding, because now my job expands into Dota, it expands into Pokemon, it expands into fighting games, it expands into like speed running, like a bunch of different genres of gaming and esports. And it's so, and also like with NYXL Subliner, so Call of Duty as well, it's so interesting to see the differences between certain gaming communities and the communities that they foster, specifically the kinds of people that are a part of it and what the culture's like. That is a whole conversation for another podcast episode, but I can go on and on about that. It is such an interesting thing, especially as someone who loved psychology in college. Sorry, you can go
No,
now.
you can,
Yeah.
no, I
I'm-
completely agree.
Yeah.
I'm worried about some of the culture that gaming fosters. I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I have a story from today. Do we want to do story time?
We could save it. I think that's a whole topic episode. We can save
Well,
it there. Just
we
write
can-
it
mine
down.
doesn't go too deep into it, but it's
How
a good.
quick
Shut
of
him
a
down.
story is it?
It's
the
like
story.
I
If
can
it-
get the
is it
story
like
done
5
in
minutes?
It's a 2-minute story.
Okay.
Okay,
2-minute
sure.
story.
Yeah,
You
I
can
got
go.
It's a
it.
You
quick
can go.
story. Okay, so I have a group project, and probably the worst class I've ever taken.
What's
This
the
professor
class?
is culture meeting making.
What even is that? I've never
Yeah,
even heard
that's
of
a great question.
This is going to turn into a 5-minute story now. I can feel it.
Well, yeah, you're asking questions. That's on side.
That's all.
Okay,
I'll shut up.
and so we have to do a presentation on culture. We just have to find a truth in the culture, evaluate that truth, and then say what we learned. It's like really, really simple. So everyone in my group played games. So we did like, I literally gave them the topic. I'm like, this is easy to fucking hit a home run on. We're just gonna do are women represented in competitive esports. I was like, you'll find a million articles about this. I'll ask our Mori. Like it'll come together. And so we do it. I think we put a really good presentation together. And we go up and present today. And I think I have 4 different like men from our game studio programs. Like the people that are going to be making games in the future devs that are going to ruin my balance patches, are just devil's advocate on every word we say about how it's not that bad. And I almost lost my mind. Not only are we having them like talk to us the whole presentation about why women aren't underrepresented or why they're not harassed, someone stops me after the class, like by name, and tries to talk to me more about it. And I legitimately just told him to his face, if you hate women that much, please just say it out loud. And I walked out of the classroom.
Good.
I've never had.
Yeah,
It's
agree.
actually
Fuck that
crazy.
guy.
And so that's what I worry about. It's like those are the people that are making the games, like the people in those environments. Like obviously, like this was probably just like a shit classroom, like with some people that are just dumb. But like, I don't know.
Dude, something about college classrooms. I had like total shitbags in my classes too that just had the worst opinions. We had an ethics class. Don't even get me started on some of the views that I heard in there. That was a miserable experience. I got my diploma and left. Let's go. But yeah, there's bad people in every spaces.
Yeah.
You'll never avoid it. But that's why you be the good that you want to see, the change that you want to see. You know.
My college is lucky enough. Every class we have is like 300 people, and there's no.
You
Yeah.
have like full on
It's
like
all just lecture.
Yeah.
lectures.
It's just basically lectures. In the 2 year, like I think I was there for 2.5 years before COVID happened. We went online. No, it was only like 2. It was like a year and a half actually. The year and a half there, which I guess isn't a huge sample size, there was like, I don't think a single. I think I heard 2 people talk in those 1.5 years.
Damn.
That entire time.
You're lucky.
Like,
I wish that could have been my class.
Yeah, 20-person classrooms.
Dude, it's
going
so
crazy
bad.
right
I
now.
had some guy get
20
kicked out of my college course because he just kept spewing dog shit opinions.
That's
We're in a class talking about how like racial profiling is very real and a huge issue in Canadian law and culture there. And this, oh my god, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started on the opinions that I heard. It was so bad. People trying to dispute that. I'm like, oh, please.
So
Some
this
people are
is
just
in your.
misguided, you know.
Yeah, misguided is a good word.
To put it softly,
who is she?
misguided.
Huh?
She's a winner.
That took me a minute. All
funny
right.
guy.
Anyways. That was a good
Let's
time.
Yeah. No, actually, never mind. I had a shitty joke, but that was a better shitty joke. I'm gonna leave it
Organic.
on Mark's. That was a good
really
one.
good shit,
That was a good one.
was a dad
You know what?
one.
Let's finish. Let's get to finishing this up. I have one question for all of you.
Okay.
Dream job in esports, or
I have it.
you?
I love working
No,
on
no,
the
no.
East Coast. I love.
I'm
working on the
happy
East
for you.
Coast. I never want to quit this job. I love this place.
You have nothing you would want to change to your job. Zero.
Dude,
And I'm talking down to the.
Literally,
We talked about
I,
it, like, in
dude, I
person.
sound like a shill every single time that I talk about this company. I love East Coast. One thing that I value really heavily after working for many different esports companies is having an owner of the company that understands the culture of esports and also is grassroots. And the owner of our company, he's gonna hate that I'm gassing him up because he doesn't like taking credit, but he is so grassroots and really cares about every single person that works for us, every single roster member that we have, every single fan that we have. And I am always developing new skills, always developing current skills that I have. I've been given so many cool opportunities. I've done so much cool shit in the past year. I feel like I'm always growing and growing and growing and doing bigger and better things at this company. I literally cannot complain. And they pay me well. So I'm big chillin'. I'm happy.
There you go. Wow.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'll shill this company
There's
out
hope
anyway.
out there.
I'm gonna go follow Beast Coast on Twitter.
Yeah, so I want to work as a designer at Beast Coast.
This place is
Yeah,
fun.
I don't know.
Well,
As far as like my dream job, honestly, the dream job connotates that like it's secure, right?
Yeah, this job you can have for as long as you want. It's your dream job. It's your parameters. If you only want it for 30 days, that's you.
Yeah, I'd love to work as like a content, like a graphic designer, but probably like somewhere more along the lines of like art direction, graphic design for like. I want to say not even like directly esports, but like a team that manages like content creators, like a content management team.
Yeah.
But stuff that works more on like their creators, like activations, like for example,
yeah.
like Off-Brand, like the company that Ludwig was building, like that sort of thing. But working on the design for them when they're doing like different shows and stuff like that.
That'd be cool.
Like something where it's always new and it's not always the same branding, but I get to like work on a bunch of things. Sounds like really really fun.
And have multiple different projects going.
Yeah, but I get to like help around that sort of thing.
Yeah.
That's probably my like ideal.
It's
I think for myself, I probably like it's either two routes I'm probably gonna take. Either I don't want to be in esports anymore and I go into entertainment with like film and all that stuff, looking into that, exploring that option slowly, or I stay in esports but like more on the higher up side, like the gaming company itself, and try to be a graphics producer or like someone that produces and like leads the design, not the person that like is like talking to the producer or the lead designer and like working with them. I want to be like, I eventually want to be able to like not always touching the design, but like having a hand in the creative process, because I know I won't want to design forever.
Yeah, I think I'm very similar to that in terms of how I want to approach what my job actually is. I think creative direction would suit me well. Obviously, that's like very far out.
Yeah.
Creative direction requires you to actually like have foundational knowledge of a lot of different skill sets, and obviously I'm not there yet. I have some under my belt, but not nearly enough to lead a group of people. But I think similar to that, I want to be in, it's very general, be in a studio environment, 2 other designers, a director, an art director, whatever that is. Can be in esports, can be not. I don't have like a super defined, narrowed lens yet, but just something collaborative, something in space, doing something I love. You know what I mean? Somewhere where I live too, that I like. You know, that'd be great.
If you don't have to
Portland,
fly
Oregon,
there.
or Seattle.
Who knows, man?
I love how you go to be super general, and then you proceeded the like square feet on your office, how many people you want in there.
Yeah, I want it to be a 5x5 cube.
Within a
Yeah.
2-mile
Black
radius
walls,
of my
no
location
windows.
I wanted at this exact address.
Has to be in a college town so I can walk out to get food.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
Real.
dude,
Really close to
Atlanta.
my favorite gas station where they sell really good churros. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Put me in the gas
You have a
station,
gas
actually.
station with good churros?
Yeah,
I just really want churros right now. This is the first thing that came to
That's
mind.
fair. That's fair.
What about you,
Is
Kyle?
Costco open?
Dude,
Uh,
I wanna
Costco
go
is still open.
So bad.
Sorry.
They close at midnight.
Oh, you mean like today?
Start walking, dude. I don't know.
I thought you meant like total Costco.
Dude,
Like
I
it
live
didn't
right
shut
downtown
down.
Toronto, and there's not a single Costco near me. I'm so
I
sad.
am
fucked
so
up.
sorry.
That's
Yeah. Anyways,
so
wait,
sad.
your last one. You haven't replied
yeah,
yet.
Oh yeah.
Kylo.
I mean, mine's pretty much basically the same as everyone's. I'll piggyback
Original.
off Momo's. I have like 2. Like I would love, just because I'm a huge Hawks fan. You're gonna see next week on the next episode of the podcast. I'm starting this like Hawks like memorabilia thing. I bought like a game used ball with the entire team sign. It's got like Vince Carter, Trey Young, Jeremy
Oh.
Lin. It's so cool. I'm a huge Hawks fan, so I would love one day to just work
yeah.
in a like creative lead position at the Hawks and kind of like what everyone's saying, kind of like put your hand in everything, make your cool stuff, but also approve stuff, make sure it's cool, right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm good enough for that, but kind of any kind of creative lead. And if we're staying in esports, I'm very close to where I want to be. I love TSM; they're a great company. Even if publicly people don't see it that way, I have loved every bit working there. But creative lead, and I'm getting my marketing degree, and the first time ever in college, I've actually enjoyed my classes. So maybe even all the way up to a marketing lead one day would be cool. But that's me. That's what I want.
I mean,
Yeah.
Trae Young's overrated, but other than that,
No, Trey Young is a little overrated. I'm a huge DeJounte Murray fan, actually. I thought that was the best. Wow.
yeah, he's on my fantasy team. Love that guy.
That was out. Not that this is a sports podcast, but I could talk days about him and John Collins. Holy. But yeah, that's it. That's
Yeah.
me.
Oh yeah. I feel like my answer sounded so complacent compared to all of you. I have so many
No, if
goals.
you're happy with what
I-
you're
Yeah, you're happy.
I just wanted
you
to
made it.
clarify, like, I have so many goals and like things I want to do. I just feel very capable of doing
Yeah.
them here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
I get you.
That was
you're,
the
you're happy,
moral of the
you're, like,
story.
you're just
Sorry.
building the foundation more. You're just building everything
Oh,
around
yeah.
you more.
There's like the setting yourself up for success
Yeah.
section of
Literally.
your life, and you've gotten to the end of that, it seems.
Yeah.
So
I'm stable now. I'm
Co-owner
mostly
of
stable
Beast
now.
Coast.
Doing what
That's
you
your
love.
goal.
That's
Oh, yeah.
important.
Just me shilling out my company on a podcast for like 2 minutes straight. I always have to tell people, like, I'm not paid to say this. I mean, I'm paid, but not to say this. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Hey, Beascus, if you do want to pay the podcast, we can also say it too.
Yeah, we'll say it.
we'll
so many
confidently say
times.
it. No, I'm
I'm just
kidding.
gonna
Any other
slide
orgs
this
out there,
to our content
TSM,
director and be like, hey
You
man,
know,
take a look at this.
Whoever made that Bingus poster, do you want to hit us up?
True.
Amazon.
first sponsor of the
Amazon.
podcast.
Bezos himself sewed that together.
Oh my god.
That's probably worth a lot then.
It's gonna be funny. The
Yeah.
first sponsor of this podcast is going to be an esports team, and then one of us is going to have to leave just due to our contract. If it's Beast Coast, I have to go. I'm sorry. Then TSM, Fogey's got to go. It's probably against our contract. I'm sorry, but so
I'm all good.
it's going
Dude,
to be a fun game.
I
Whatever.
got a TSM jacket in my closet from like high school. I'm not even kidding. I used to be such a big TSM fan. I used to be the biggest.
So
in
that
the league.
used to be.
Yeah.
Then
And
they
now
come
one
off.
of your friends works
For
there,
their
and you don't
league
care
team,
anymore.
because I don't
Yes,
watch
whatever.
league anymore, so I don't care about TSM anymore. I'm sorry.
What about Apex?
What about Apex?
Imperial
True.
Hal, my favorite.
Imperial
True.
How? That's
I
my.
My
love
favorite
it when he
controller
screams.
abuser.
It's my favorite.
That's so.
That's actually my favorite.
Loud as
I had,
funny.
My bad. My bad.
what are you talking? What's with the flag?
What?
What?
He plays
No, never
Reaper.
mind. I'm just kidding.
He's trying to.
Oh, that's-
beef with
That was
you.
not funny. That was not funny. That was not funny.
I wanna have
Okay.
I
beef
got
with
it though.
somebody.
It wasn't funny. Well, on that note, I think that's a very good area to end it. And something I didn't talk about at the beginning of the podcast, and I guarantee if we had 3 listeners this entire thing, none of them are still here. But if by any chance you are, weekly podcast, right? That's what we're doing. That's what this we did not
Gonna be
talk
weekly,
about.
surely.
It's gonna be next week.
Weekly.
Totally.
Without a
We're-
skip, no skips. We will
No
be there.
skips.
Yeah,
We'll
for
see you
sure.
next week on Iteration 6.
And
Remember
I
to
will have my
higher
camera on.
every week.
I will have my camera on. I promise. I'm sorry. I was trying to, get everybody interested. Be like, ooh, what does she look like? Don't look at my socials. Ooh, what does she look like? And then they show up to the second podcast. So,
There
yeah.
we
That's
go.
next
Yeah.
week. Someone's got to turn off their camera and be like, "Oh, did they change? Are they still look the same?" And then it's just
True.
a constant
Smash
cycle.
it.
Start talking about a haircut or something with your
Yeah.
camera off.
Yeah, I got a haircut a few days ago. Can you guys? Well, now that you can
Nice.
tell that you knew
Let's
what I
go.
look
Yeah, I
like.
can tell
True.
that they didn't blend the line.
What?
What do you mean by that? My line looks fine.
They
No,
blended
no,
it.
no.
Don't be mean.
No, in your fade, they didn't blend it unless it's meant to be that way.
Some
You're
would think
fine.
it's a fade.
You're
I
fine. You're fine.
Nobody
I don't know
You're
hair
fine.
stuff. I
You
like
look
my
great.
hair.
You look good.
I like my hair.
He was
this
so
is just,
proud of his haircut, and now he's so obnoxious about it.
Jumped on it. Yeah.
Remember when you used to put powder in your hair?
I still do. I just don't do it when
Oh.
I'm not going out. So I put this powder and it like spikes it, but I'm
It's
not
spiky
going anywhere
powder?
today. Yeah. So it
It's
gives it
odd.
a hold, so it'll stay like this kind of like a little
Like,
bit
is
better.
it like baby powder, like dry shampoo?
It looks like
Yes.
baby powder. I don't think it's very healthy for your hair at
Dry
all.
shampoo's
I-
fine.
my
Good for
hair
you.
feels really bad after it. My hair's getting really thin because of it. I
Just-
think.
You gotta do
So I'm gonna-
treatments then. Yeah.
It's like
I don't.
artificial
What kind of
dandruff.
treatments?
Like moisturizing treatments, like conditioning treatments. If
Oh.
your hair gets too. Anyways, thanks
Yeah.
for coming to our podcast.
Yeah,
Everybody-
It's weekly Wednesdays, 5 p.m. 5. What did
Oh,
we
do
say?
not
5
set it-
p.m.
is it-
Wednesdays.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's when it's
Be
gonna go
there.
live.
Yep, that's when
Every
it's happening.
Wednesday, 5 p.m. If
Sure.
it's not there at 5 p.m., it'll be next Wednesday at 5 p.m.
It will be.
Or in
Maybe.
No,
30
but-
minutes when Cal gets it uploaded.
That's true.
Or
Could be at 5:30.
If the bot's actually timed correctly in our Discord channel. to ping
Wednesday,
us at
just
the correct time.
Reminder.
just look every day. Actually, you know what? I don't know if it's gonna be Wednesday. Just look every day. It's gonna be there. Enable notifications. That's what I gotta say.
Platform
Ring the
is
bell.
this podcast gonna be on?
Ring the bell.
Give us
subscribe.
5 stars on Apple Podcasts.
Leave a like. Leave a
Wait,
subscription.
genuinely, what platforms is this podcast gonna be on?
The ones that they let us
YouTube.
put them on.
Can we get this
and
on
if they let us
Spotify?
on,
YouTube.
if they let us on Spotify.
I looked it up. We can get it on Spotify if we get like 5 episodes. So
Dude,
probably
let's
just
go.
YouTube.
Soon.
Amazing.
Spotify
Let's
TV.
go.
Crazy.
TV.
Apple Podcasts.
If you guys watch
it.
enough, maybe we can put it on Spotify.
Let's go.
Or if we just make 5
It'll be on
3-second
podcast.com
episodes.
or something. Whatever that website
I didn't even know
is.
that website existed. I'm gonna be real with you.
You have to be there first to be on Spotify.
Oh.
You have to have like 10 viewers on that, and then you can put it on Spotify. So it's not even that hard. We just need 10
We're
of
doing
you.
a true Midwest
Good
goodbye
10.
with this.
We already
ending
have
of the
5.
podcast.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, but 5 Wednesdays, 5
Just
p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. We're
Thanks,
ending.
Well, we're
everybody.
gonna.
It's over.
Bye now. I hit the stop recording button.
Bye-bye.
I'm now doing
Bye.
that as well.